Hey everyone, welcome back to your week ahead astrology breakdown with me, Matthew from Stillwater Alchemy. How was that Gemini full moon for you? The feedback that I received from clients and through DMs was that it was either very illuminating and things were made clear on how to proceed, or a lot was coming up that needed to be released and a few crystal tears were shed in the process. So either way, always remembering that the energy from these prominent lunations, new moons, full moons, eclipses can happen a bit before the actual date of, during, after. I know for me personally, I was extremely tired the days leading up to it, Wednesday, Thursday. And then Friday, I had this bolt, this like intuitive knowing that I had to do something, especially given that Gemini rules my sixth house, where you find dharma, work, structure, routine, that I have now implemented and started. So keep that in your back pocket as well. And if you would like an additional resource for that full moon, I'll put the link in the description below, as with the link to the Venus retrograde workshop, because this upcoming week, there's a lot of shifts happening in the cosmos, and there is going to be a lot of prominent energy. And it's, again, fitting, poetic. I like to say that it is holidays, Christmas time, and there's a lot of charge, a lot of intensity that's going to be happening this week. And so when I say that all this intense cosmic energy is happening, of course, it can cause overwhelm or breakthroughs or a bit of both. So just be kind to yourself. Make sure you have the resources in place that you need, and relying on your go-tos, whether it's journaling, gratitude, exercise, meditation, breath work, especially during that 23rd, 24th, 25th. That's going to be a lot, because this week we have Venus starting her retrograde. We also have Chiron stationing direct. We have Capricorn season beginning. We have another exact Saturn-Uranus square. And then we also have Venus conjunct Pluto. So it's a lot. So let's get started, shall we? As we start off the week, we also, of course, are still coming down from the full moon in Gemini. So take your time coming back into the week. And then, of course, Venus has started her retrograde, which will last for 40 days and 40 nights. And so with Venus's retrograde specifically, look to the house in your natal chart ruled by Capricorn, and then also look to where your natal Venus is. And as an additional measure, you can look to the houses in your natal chart that Venus rules, so Libra and Taurus, as general themes to examine over this retrograde. Given that Pluto is also involved in the mix, there are going to be themes of death, rebirth, mining for the truth, really going into our subconscious, looking at our past, which is a key theme of both retrogrades, and Pluto can be involved in there. I also find personally in client sessions that Pluto can be linked to past life energy. So if you keep attracting the same relationship or keep engaging in relationships in the same fashion, this can be something to examine as to maybe you identified that pattern as being normal from your upbringing, from your parents, from your grandparents, from society. That can just be one way of playing with this retrograde specifically, okay, as a thought or a point to journal on. With Chiron now stationing direct, I know some people work with Chiron, some people don't. Remember, it's not necessarily considered a planet or an asteroid. It's like a planetoid, but it's known as a wounded healer or a blind spot, you can say, in our natal chart. With it going direct now, there is this energy that's going to be focused on the divine masculine energy and healing around this, where you feel called to work or exert energy. And that can just be something to examine as well moving forward. I know a lot of people feel this strain or hopelessness or just all of this bombardment of news around the pandemic and when is it going to get better? I feel like I don't have any motivation, or I can't do what I want to do. And just remember, when something seemingly gets taken away, whether it's an opportunity, a relationship, that energy can never be destroyed. So that energy has to find another vessel to serve you. So if something got taken away, quote unquote, you now have that energy, time, and money to invest into something else. So I feel that is a again, a way to look at this Chiron stationing direct and say, where have I maybe let an excuse taken away my personal power and autonomy? And now how can I now use this extra time, energy, and money into another area of my life where I feel called? Like I said, with us coming down from that full moon in Gemini, Venus beginning her retrograde, I think a lot of things will become clear. And just intuitively, I know I'm not the only one who shares this sentiment, but 2021, it was like, blink, we're done. I remember little things from each kind of third of the year. And now we're at the final, 10 days, 11 days of the year. So like I said, intuitively, I feel as if a lot of things will become clear, or whatever we had to endure or the challenges that we overcame, it'll become very prominent here. Even as well, being able to celebrate your growth and see how you show up in certain stressful situations. Maybe before you would always approach that type of contentious energy in a certain way, but now you've learned, you've grown, and so you're not going to show up or react in that same way that you've always done. And I think for many, you'll be able to see this growth when you visit family and friends during the holidays. And a lot of times when we go back and visit those familiar spaces, especially if we're going back home, it really is that stark contrast from where we were to where we are now. So just some things to think about there. Also, the moon is in Cancer starting on Monday, which is great. Remember, the moon rules Monday, moon day, but we have the moon opposing Mercury, but she's also making a trine to Neptune. So for me, the moon has greater dignity in Cancer than Mercury does in Capricorn, but there can be this tenseness or friction between news that you hear causing emotional distress. So personally, I would recommend not really reading news sources unless you have to. Be very cautious of the conversations that you engage. A lot of people like to bring up strife and fear just to have something to talk about at the office or in conversation. So just be cautious of that. I would really take some time to see what's coming up intuitively, your dreams, recalibrating, see what's been coming through with all this energy and what's been shifting, because that's a way better way of using this moon trine Neptune to your advantage instead of getting bogged down by the moon opposing Mercury. Okay. So like I said, a lot is happening this week. I could keep going on, but let's move on to Tuesday. So Tuesday, we have the moon making a direct opposition to both Pluto and Venus. And also, as a friendly reminder, I'm using 9 a.m. Eastern Standard Time as the start of each of these days. So you can reschedule it depending on the time zone that you're in. But at the start of the morning here on the East Coast, for me, just intuitively as well, I feel like there's going to be more news that's coming out, maybe some, I'll just put it out there. Disclaimer, I'm not giving professional stock advice, but I do feel like there could be some intensity which could affect the stock market. So you could use that to your advantage if you want to invest or just kind of see what's happening around. There might also be some energetic cords being cut, or you letting go of certain relationships or saying goodbye once and for all to certain things with that moon opposing both Pluto and Venus. So just seeing your emotional state, you might be a little tender, a little bit raw. This will get better as the day progresses when the moon moves into Leo for those in the North America time zones per se. But just to be aware of your emotions around world news, around information surrounding you. Like I said, that comes through very much on Monday with the moon opposing Mercury, but you may also just be in your feelings around relationships, around love, around beauty as we're approaching the holidays. That's always such a big energy, is if you're in a relationship or not and feeling lonely or spending time with certain loved ones that may not share the same ideals or values as you. So there's just a lot of emotions in the air on Tuesday, which can be great for breakthroughs. This moon opposing Venus and Pluto doesn't have to result in a quote unquote death or a letting go. It can be the transmutation. It can be the rebirth. So you may have to have maybe one of those uncomfortable conversations or a conversation that's been on your heart, but don't go in there expecting the worst necessarily. It can be a point for expansion, right? There's always two ways or many ways we can look at these intense and frictional energies that are at play. So be grounded, be clear, and maybe set some intentions on how you'd like to use Tuesday to your advantage. Now, Wednesday, in my opinion, is one of the best days of the week. So we now have the sun entering Capricorn, which is nice. So that's also, you're going to see now we have 4 planets, the sun, Mercury, Pluto, and Venus, all in the sign of Capricorn. So that part of your chart is going to get an extra boost of energy, more focus there. And just with Capricorn, of course, it's about goals, ambition, determination, what we really want to put forth with energy, money, and time to receive the dividends or that ROI to come back to us. Also, we have the moon in Leo making a trine to Mars. So for me, this is great for productivity, which is perfect timing because I'm sure a lot of people are going to be wrapping up the work week to then either take the rest of the week off or make those final emails, get through, get the answers that they need, sign the papers. Remember, Wednesday is ruled by Mercury. So always a good day for admin work or just making sure any last bit of correspondence is done. And I also feel just personally, when you have a really nice energy with Mars involved, whether you need to get work done or get a lot of errands or get that final gift for a loved one, it just adds in that focus. It's like, okay, I need to get all this stuff done today. I am scheduling it all up perfectly. And at the end of the day, you can look back and say, oh yes, everything I needed to do is crossed off the list, which if you have maybe some Virgo energy or you're goal oriented, it feels so good to finally cross that last item off the to-do list. Also, too, I like this energy if you want to get physical, get a workout in, get a really nice boost in there. It's just a great day for energy, vitality, productivity, getting all this stuff done, which is great. So for me, Wednesday is the best day of the week, astrologically speaking. So use it wisely. When we move to Thursday, this for me is kind of when that feeling of overwhelm could start to rise again. I would really also advise for those of you who are traveling, whether by car, by plane, by train, to bless yourself. I'm always a very big proponent of black tourmaline. Literally, I wear or have it on me at all times. It's a black crystal. So if you're traveling, especially by car, just have a black tourmaline crystal in your trunk, in the cup holder. If you're traveling, having on your carry-on. Also just blessing the vehicle, blessing your trip, blessing the pilot or the operator of the train, whoever it is. I think this will help because we do have the moon opposing Jupiter. We looked at Jupiter and Mercury for travel. And so for me, it's like there could just be a lot going on or a lot of stress or a lot of emotions collectively around this. And of course, it's the day before Christmas Eve. Everything is going to be packed. There's going to be a lot of energy going on. So even if you're not traveling, if you could take time, maybe just to take a step back, to chill, this would be really good. Okay. We also have Saturn now at 11 degrees, and it's coming up to that exact square to Uranus. And so the exact square will happen on Friday, but this is just to note as well, it's kind of chaos versus order. And so I am thinking that there may be more news or more restrictions around COVID, which is maybe going to affect travel or just incur delays or frustrations in these matters. So just be cautious. Again, how we spoke at the beginning of the week of having those resources in play, all the meditation, all the grounding, all the breath work. Sometimes we're still bombarded externally, but if we can have the proper mindset to know that we're doing everything we can to stay ahead of that curve and to protect ourselves from the frenetic energy, it's great. If you don't need to be out and about today, just in general in the city, I would advise maybe working from home. Like I said, Wednesday is a great day to get everything done so that Thursday you can just relax. And a positive manifestation for me with this moon opposing Jupiter is that there could just be a lot of opportunities to be social, to have fun, that you get to pick which opportunity will best serve you. Or maybe a lot of friends want to get together before you leave or everyone takes off for the holidays. So then you're like, I really want to go to this party. I want to spend quality time with this individual. So then that could be the better manifestation of that. There's just so much joy and love to share, that which one is the best. And that's also another kind of energy I link with Leo, moon in Leo: joy, love, warmth, happiness, sharing the love. If you're in a place to be benevolent and kind, maybe being charitable, sending that text that someone could really use, or intuitively you're thinking, I really want to connect to this person, just show them I love them, maybe send them a coffee. Something kind would go a long way on Thursday. Okay. When we get to Friday, this is nice for those who have a lot of earth energy or can appreciate that grounded, functional stableness. I think it's very, again, poetic that we have the moon in Virgo starting Christmas Eve. For those who celebrate Christmas, it is kind of that get the house clean, get the turkey in the oven, get all the food ready. And we have the moon in Virgo making a trine to the sun in Capricorn. But we also have the moon in Virgo squaring Mars in Sagittarius. And then this is when we have the exact square between Saturn and Uranus. So for me, the analogy that came through was you have the moon in Virgo and the sun in Capricorn as the mom and the dad driving the car. And then Mars in Sagittarius is the child in the back seat saying, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? So for me, there could be this impatience or wanting to get things done, or just come home, or just be able to let go of work, but there's still a little bit that needs to be done, or you just have to abide by the restrictions or the delays or the proper channels before you can finally let go. So for those who really can appreciate that earth energy, this is kind of making sure all the I's are dotted, T's are crossed. Do not put the carriage before the horse, making sure that you're not taking a shortcut or cutting corners. Please be diligent, be mindful, and just be very focused so that there aren't any trip ups or delays. And like I said, this Saturn-Uranus square is going to be affecting the entire collective. I do naturally just think it's going to be pandemic related. So again, everyone is approaching this with different mindsets, different energies, how they feel like they can help if they want to not really give it a lot of energy. And by reading those articles, I think just naturally going home for the holidays, it's going to come up, or just spending time with loved ones. Because I said, everyone has an opinion on this. Protect your energy, engage if you feel called. And if not, this can be used as well for a personal standpoint of where do you feel like you are maybe stuck, or where your freedom is taken away from you, and how can you shake up your mindset, your routine, your finances to help you expand. So where do you feel like you're being boxed in and maybe cornered or restricted, and how can you shift your mindset and actions to deviate from that, or to release yourself and set you free. Freedom is a very big aspect that we link with both Uranus and Aquarius. And Saturn, remember, is in its domicile in Aquarius. So this is something I also wanted to bring up as well with regards to degree theory in astrology. The 29th degree is known as the critical degree, the arenetic degree. It can be the climax or the point of focus where that planet gets to fully express itself in that sign, or where it exemplifies that, or where things fall into the place. And so remember, back at the end of 2020, December 21st, there was a grand conjunction between Jupiter and Saturn in Aquarius. And everyone was saying it was the ascension portal, get it in quick. If you don't make it, you'll lose out. I'm sure many may not even remember at this point, but it was so much pomp and circumstance and fanfare and clickbait surrounding that. However, using that as a reference point, because that was around the time that Jupiter entered Aquarius. So now it's been a full year. So what themes of joy and expansion around spiritual practices, around independence, around freedom, around those Aquarius themes have come through? Where have you seen that mix of Saturn and Jupiter energy come forward, where you put in the work and you showed faith and the blessings came in? And naturally, when Jupiter moves into Pisces next week, that's going to be blessed and amazing for the entire collective. We'll touch more on that later. But this is just a nice reflective energy that for the next 4 days or so until December 28th, that Jupiter is in this critical degree. So really just looking to the point in your chart that maybe Aquarius rules, or if you have late placements in air signs in your chart, that you can expect a nice little boost or a little nightcap or blessing to end this transit with Jupiter in the sign of Aquarius. When we move to the 25th of December, we have this exact conjunction between Venus retrograde and Pluto. So if you recall, this already happened once, December 12th, and it's going to happen again in March. So this is the second of 3 Venus-Pluto conjunctions. So it may just amplify energies or the themes that are going to be taking place during this Venus retrograde around love, beauty, relationships, what you value, what you're putting time, energy, and money into. So there could have been a lot of conversations around the dinner table, around with your loved ones on what's important to you, what you want to move into for the new year. And part of me thinks that when you're standing in your power, when you've made a lot of personal growth and you share that with people you haven't seen in a long time, it can be met with opposition, or they project their own fears and doubts onto you. So that's kind of coming through a little bit intuitively, that don't let other people's fear and doubt deter you from what you're meant to accomplish. This can just be one of those phoenix rising moments where you look at everyone around you and say, this doesn't concern you. This is what I'm doing. You can either hop on and be supportive or get out. There's the door kind of energy. So just being very mindful, taking some time to pause and reflect. With that, I think too, just with it being Christmas Day, feelings of maybe loneliness or isolation or not being in a successful romantic relationship, if that's something that you're prone to, or again, the holidays are not always a benevolent time for everyone. So giving compassion to yourself, giving compassion to others, if maybe you don't get a response from your crush or things aren't going how you want them to, remember, we just explored for the past 20 minutes or so that this week is intense. Everyone is going to be reacting to it. Everyone has family and friends. Everyone has a lot that they're going through. I want to bring up as well that we have this moon opposing Neptune transit on Saturday. So for those of you who are prone to certain vices or addictions, to bypass the pain, to bypass those shadow aspects that come from those Venusian topics, that I would just warn that that might be prevalent, or you might be witness to that in your friend group, in your family, or from another loved one. So please take due care and diligence, reach out to people or resources that are going to support you if you need it. And again, I always think that the opposite of an opposition can be you really having maybe a nice romantic or intimate encounter that feels like a dream, that feels like it's not even real. And so it can kind of melt away a hardened exterior or allow people to be a bit more vulnerable. And some people don't do well with those emotions or doing well with their walls being down. So you may be able to have those interactions with yourself and others, and it may just cause a lot to come to the surface. So those moments are beautiful and just as powerful as a really nice Mars or Jupiter or Venus transit. So use it to your advantage. But if you need to take time for yourself and just take a step back from everything, that's also perfectly acceptable, especially as we move into Sunday. We then have the moon making trines to Venus and Pluto, maybe coming on the other side of that conversation or reaching the other side of fear and being able to see the light, to see the levity. But just with everything that's gone on, yes, take some time on Sunday. If you were to engage in shopping during Boxing Day, I kind of love Virgo energy mixed with a Venus retrograde, that there may be something you've always been looking at, and this is a perfect time to grab it, or saving money, or hearing about a benevolent deal. So you can keep your ears open, eyes open, if there's something you've always wanted, or to invest your money into something that's useful for you for the new year. Keep your mind and your eyes open. Okay, so that is the week ahead. At least the prominent transits that I wanted to share. Like I said, I can really honestly talk a lot about this. I'll be having more content and resources for the year ahead coming out very soon. So I was going to say get ready or get excited, but I'll release it very soon. So that'll all come out next week. And Of course, if you have any general questions or anything that you're curious about from this video, post them down in the comments below. Like I said, if you're interested in any of the resources that we have for the full moon in Gemini or the Venus retrograde, I'll also post that in the description of the video. And have a beautiful holidays. Use this time how you see fit. Intuitively, just ground in to see what you need, not what other people expect or want from you, and go from there. I think that'll really help this week, especially with the up and down that we saw that will come through energetically. Thank you all so much for watching. Have a beautiful week ahead, and I'll talk to you soon. Bye.